Today's episode is brought to you by the Whole Life Decluttering Workshop, featuring a proprietary 6-step system, the Simple System, to help you declutter your life in a way that will last. Purchase this workshop on demand and receive the video training and dedicated workbook at positivelyproductive.com/resources. Taking pride in who you are and what you bring to the table unlocks your productivity in a big way. But it's more than that. When you start to blend an understanding of how you work best and an appreciation for who you are as a person, you set yourself up for more than just success. When you're completely open and free to work a certain way, and you learn to take pride in your approach and effort, you change your own perception of success. When you realize the way in which you show up, and that's any way you can, and every step and every moment is something to be proud of, you unlock a new productivity mindset. You're listening to the Positively Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Zawrotny, founder of Positively Productive Systems and a productivity coach certified in positive psychology and stress management. Join me as we explore ways to live a more proactive, positive life with episodes on productivity, self-awareness, mindset, entrepreneur life, habits and systems, simplicity, fun, and more. I understand overwhelm personally as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, wife and mom to kids and cats, and as a caregiver. I'm here to help you choose what's right for you so you can do less, live more, and breathe easier. Sound good? Let's get to it. Welcome to the Positively Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa, and I'm proud to celebrate 5 years of weekly episodes. In June of 2020, I launched this podcast. Yes, it was a pandemic pod, and I wasn't sure where it would go. I simply knew I needed to share a new perspective on productivity and inspire and encourage others to live their best lives in a way that works for them. This means honoring who they are fully and using self-acceptance and self-compassion as part of the process. I work with people to release shame and guilt, and I'm dedicated to changing the narrative. Yes, the focus is productivity, but if you're thinking how that could apply to all aspects of life, nice catch. It is our uniqueness that makes us special and needs to be appreciated. And it happens to be the key to productivity too. Today, we're diving into a topic that is in some ways timely. We're uncovering the connection between pride and productivity. Now, you might be asking what pride would have to do with getting things done, or perhaps you're wondering what I mean by pride. That was on purpose. This episode was definitely inspired by Pride Month, and in a way, it's a dedication to it. Pride is an important thing that we as a society have somehow come to see as negative, linking it to being boastful or full of oneself, the very antithesis of humility, which has somehow been deemed to be the preferred state, when in reality, it simply means believing in your self-worth, which I want for all of us. When you believe in your worth, it encourages you to live authentically, which in turn does amazing things for your goals and your life. The takeaway for today is simple, really. Being authentically you and living in a way that aligns with your values and strengths is key to your most productive and positive life. Let's start by defining some of these terms, and then we can see how it all links together. We'll begin with pride. In simple terms, taking pride in yourself means having a healthy sense of self-worth. Being proud of yourself doesn't mean you think you're perfect or the best. It's more that you recognize your uniqueness and accomplishments. No one else is like you, and that means your existence is worth celebrating. And when you realize this, you can feel more satisfied and more willing to step into your abilities. It's a wonderful positive feedback loop. A key part of self-pride is embracing your vulnerabilities as the very traits that make you unique. Self-pride can help you develop self-respect despite your insecurities, which we all have. And then that can help bring you closer to your goals. As I mentioned, when you take pride in yourself, you can live and act more authentically. Well, the concept of authenticity has emerged as a key contributor to productivity. They've studied it in the workplace, and they found it linked to employee well-being, to organizational culture and psychological safety, all of these things promoting productivity. Authenticity is linked to enhanced well-being and reduced stress, increased engagement and motivation, improved relationships and trust. It makes sense when you think about it because there's an inherent freedom in being able to express your true self, your values and beliefs, feeling that they are inherently good, that you are inherently good, that you are worthy. And when you feel that freedom, you do your best work. On the neuroscience side, authentic behavior is associated with the release of neurochemicals like oxytocin and dopamine. Those feel-good chemicals, right? So that means it's linked to feelings of happiness and connection and reward. When you act authentically, you'll experience a sense of fulfillment that promotes emotional regulation, reduces your anxiety, and enhances overall emotional resilience. All of these amazing things lead to your success. Conversely, when you act inauthentically, that is, trying to be someone you're not, forcing yourself into something that doesn't fit, personality, lifestyle, or even a productivity system, it creates this inner friction, which in turn creates a problematic environment. You end up struggling, stressed, unhappy, a decidedly unproductive state. Taking pride in who you are and what you bring to the table unlocks your productivity in a big way. But it's more than that. When you start to blend an understanding of how you work best and an appreciation for who you are as a person, you set yourself up for more than just success. When you're completely open and free to work a certain way and you learn to take pride in your approach and effort, you change your own perception of success. When you realize the way in which you show up, and that's any way you can, and every step and every moment is something to be proud of, you unlock a new productivity mindset. I see this day in and day out with my clients. For my ADHD people, you'll appreciate this one. The first instinct is always to be frustrated that their brain doesn't work right for the standard planning and time blocking and batching and all of those productivity techniques that the experts teach them that they're being told is the way to do it. And I'm grateful to be the one to explain that it's the system that isn't right for them. We need to be aware of how we work and honor it. I had a client who had anxiety over batching tasks, which is so universally recommended that she felt like it was something she had to do. Well, she realized that approach was not going to work for her, and she was so frustrated because she kept trying because she felt like she had to. So our first step together was to let go of that, to declutter that concept, to help her acknowledge and accept that. And then we could look for solutions. We could innovate in a different way once we accepted it. We ended up taking my flexible time blocking approach. I call it flex blocking. And something that I'd created for my Rebel clients. And we used it to help her organize and move tasks and projects with ease without worrying about the batching. It was just being able to track them and move them and pick and choose as it worked for her. Well, this freedom unlocked her supercharged brain. That is something that is one of the superpowers of the ADHD brain. And when she unlocked that, she realized she could get more done than most people, even though she wasn't batching, she was doing it differently. Another example of changing the narrative and working more authentically comes from my caregivers and those with chronic illnesses who have a lot of limitations when it comes to energy and availability. They show up under incredibly challenging circumstances, and that deserves recognition and pride right out of the gate for all the effort they put in. But what usually happens? They lament not doing enough or having to do things so differently from others. And that enough was definitely air quotes. Did you hear that? So when we lay it all out, we realize, I help them realize, they actually do more in a day with the limited tools and energy that they may have, the limited availability, than most people do. And that new sense of understanding can lead to a pride in what they do, an appreciation for how they face the impossible every day. And then that brings on a new perspective. And no, I don't mean that it changes their perspective so that they can do all the things that they want to do and get it all done. That's not realistic. Most days it means accepting that they won't. However, the key here is that when you understand you may only have a small window of time and you're good with that, you honor that because of everything else that you do and your circumstances, and you understand this is your life stage, this is your situation, and you're ready for it, and you're proud of those moments, limited though they might be. The positive energy you bring to it changes your focus and will see you through. And I'll bet you know what I mean by this, even if you don't have those limitations. When you do it right, when you set yourself up for success, you can get a lot done in a little time. I know my fellow mamas know what I'm talking about. Getting a lot done in a little time, part of that is the magic of pride and acceptance. Now, there's another side to pride I want to mention as well. It's a little bit of a side note, and I kind of find it ironic, so I wanted to bring it up. We've talked about cognitive biases in the podcast quite a bit. I'll probably put some links in the show notes for other ones that we've talked about, negativity bias and complexity bias. But this time, the cognitive bias, it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it's where people with low ability at a task overestimate their ability, while people with high ability tend to underestimate their ability. It's kind of a lack of awareness, I think, and somehow with those who have a high ability, it's like almost a disbelief in what they're capable of. So what this means is that sometimes those who know the least are the most vocal in believing what they know to be true. And those who are truly experts might hold back. They question more. So in the case of less competent people or less able people, that pride, despite not being justified necessarily, increases their productivity, increases what they achieve. Whereas the lack of pride, the lack of belief in their ability and that awareness in more competent people tends to hamstring them. So it's just something to consider that I think is kind of funny and ironic. And I mentioned this as a reminder for you to pay attention to what you do well and be sure to shine your light in this world. You know, it's often hardest for us to see our own superpowers. So keep that in mind. Hopefully, you can see the benefits of embracing your authentic self. By accepting and appreciating who you are and how you work best, you unlock a unique way to approach productivity that really supercharges it. Whether it's adapting to the way your brain works or acknowledging your efforts and really boosting that self-appreciation, recognizing your own hidden strengths, pride empowers you to achieve your goals in a way that's both fulfilling and sustainable. We've talked about authenticity in life and business on episode 31 and in episode 99 in the context of processing emotions in a healthy way. And in episode 92, we talked about taking back your self-worth. I think all of those would be an excellent complement to today's conversation, and I encourage you to check those out. You can look for the links in the show notes or go to the podcast page of the positivelyproductive.com website, and you can look for these episodes by searching for the key word. So I'd type in authenticity and worth into the search bar, and you'll be able to pull those episodes up. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to thank you again for listening and being part of 5 years of podcasting. I'm proud of that, and I'm honored that the show has grown so much in this time. As of this recording, there are over 265 episodes, nearly 39,000 downloads, and 55 5-star reviews. And more than that, it's the messages and comments I've received that tell me these topics resonate. And I feel like I'm making a difference. And I'm determined to keep going. So I ask, would you be willing to help by sharing the episodes that resonate with you? If you found value in this one, please post it on social media or send someone an email to the link. And of course, I'd love to hear from you as well. If you have follow-up ideas, I'd love that too. I so appreciate feedback because it helps me to know that I am serving you in the best way possible. And of course, there's leaving a review. That always helps, and it would be such a gift to me. If you can do a quick one, you could do it about the show in general. You could do it about a single episode that jumped out to you, that resonated. And when you do this, it helps others who come across the show trust that this is a safe space to be with useful and encouraging advice. So it's a gift to all of us. I will leave you with words from one of my guests, Mallory Jackson. She joined us for one of the most popular episodes of the podcast on living a trauma-informed life and came back to join me for another on codependence. She shared something that has stayed with me ever since we talked, that we are born worthy. We arrive here worthy, with no more to prove beyond that. I hope you remember that as you go about your day and take pride not only in what you do, but who you are. Thank you for joining me today. Your time is precious, and I'm honored you chose to spend it with me. If you have feedback or questions, you can find me through the Connect page of the positivelyproductive.com website. And if you're looking for any of the resources mentioned here, from books to products to training and more, go to positivelyproductive.com/resources.